Hi everybody and welcome to our Thursday TNT. Now a bit later on in today's program, an article which actually refers to Phuket as Little Russia. But before the program today, just a very quick note about comments and emails. Now I do appreciate the fact that people do go out of their way to make comments and send emails. But I get between 50 and 100 emails every day, and on some days we can get up to 300 or 400 comments, usually around, say, 200 to 300, but I simply can't respond to them all. I go out of my way to try and read at least most of the comments, and the emails I'll just have a very quick read. And I appreciate the fact that you're going to the effort, but I'm a one-man band. I have zero staff, unlike a lot of other YouTubers that do news that have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 staff. I'm just a one-man band. I can't respond to them, so apologies if I don't get to all the emails, but I do appreciate it. A lot to talk about in today's program. Just wanted to start with this one. Reported in Phuket-go.com, Canadian gangland murder hitman pleads guilty in Bangkok. And a former Canadian soldier has pleaded guilty in Thailand to his role in the murder of Canadian Uber gangster Jimmy Sandhu in Phuket back in February 2022. And the gangland murder was widely reported at the time with lurid descriptions of Jimmy Sandhu's past brushes with the law and opposing gang members. And 38-year-old Matthew Dupre, a former soldier, arrived in Bangkok on May 29, 2023 on a specially chartered Air Force jet after commercial airlines refused to carry the passenger due to safety concerns. His alleged accomplice in the Phuket murder died in a Canadian plane crash. Now this story's got a lot of twists and turns. Very interesting story about these British Columbia gangsters, which sort of ended up around the world. One of them in Phuket. There was a hit on him by two people back in 2022, and it's sort of now coming to some sort of resolution. So if you'd like to read the rest of that article and some of the details, go to Phuket-go.com as we head to The Nation. And at their website, nationthailand.com, the Election Commission indefinitely postpones endorsement of 200 new senators. The Election Commission says the process of checking complaints is not complete, but does not specify exactly what these complaints are. And they say they will not endorse the 200 senatorial election winners for a while yet, whatever that means, because it has to review complaints of electoral fraud first. And the Election Commission had initially planned to announce the names of the winners yesterday, but the EC chairman said this has been postponed indefinitely. The final round of the election was held last Wednesday. After the ballot counting was completed, several groups of failed candidates submitted complaints to the EC, alleging of voting collusion. They also called on the EC to recount the ballots. So Thailand is waiting for its newly elected 200 senators, but it looks like there are some irregularities, and it may be, I don't know, a couple of hours, a couple of days, a couple of weeks until we actually get some sort of announcement. Now, Surachate Hakpan, the former deputy of police here in Thailand, is also in the news today, suing the PM. And Surachate files malfeasance in office complaint against the PM. And the beleaguered Police General Surachate Hakpan filed a complaint today, that's yesterday, with the NACC, accusing the PM of malfeasance in office over his appointment last year of Police General Torsak as the National Police Chief. He told the media he's decided to revive the malfeasance case against the PM after he learned from a former police chief that he'd already withdrawn his own complaint against the Prime Minister for an unspecified reason. And the former police chief, it should be the former deputy police chief, alleges that the PM did not adhere to the Police Act in appointing Torsak as the police chief because the most senior officer who should have been appointed was Police General Roy Inkarparot, with himself being the next in line, followed by Torsak. He maintains that he's got no personal grudge against the Prime Minister, adding that even though the PM was empowered to appoint the police chief, he is, however, obliged to follow the law. So is the appointment of the Royal Thai Police Chief convention or law? I suppose we'll find out eventually. But Surachate Hakpan not going away anytime soon. Thanks for dropping in on our 4th of July program. Happy Independence Day to our American friends. It's also an election in the UK today, so plenty happening in international news. We're going to head to Hua Hin. And this from HuaHinToday.com. Russian national arrested in Hua Hin with large drug haul. And the ONCB have announced the arrest of a Russian national in Hua Hin and seized a significant quantity of illegal drugs from his residence. Nearly a total of a kilogram were hidden in coffee capsule packages sent from Poland, but additional searches of the suspect's residence uncovered 14 grams of amphetamine, 290 grams of MDMA, 149 ecstasy tablets, etc., etc., etc. Investigations revealed the suspect was involved in receiving concealed narcotics from abroad and used his residence as a storage location. Before distributing the drugs, payments for the narcotics were made in digital currency. So I'm sure the Russian gentleman will be assisting the Hua Hin police with their inquiries as we make our way to Pattaya, where cars just keep on driving into pits. And reported in thepattayanews.com, car falls into construction pit in Pattaya, second similar accident recently, and the sedan partially fell into a shallow construction hole in the early hours of Wednesday. That was yesterday. Luckily, there were no injuries. The accident occurred at the front of the Puyai Kui market in the Nong Pru sub-district. The rescue workers received reports of the accident around 2 a.m. and responded to the scene. And it was found that there were only traffic cones placed around the edge of the pit, and there were no warning lights indicating the construction area. Well, from that photo, it looks like at least the witches' hats were fairly apparent. Didn't stop that car from ending up in the pit, though. And in a similar accident, a female food delivery driver narrowly escaped death after falling into another construction hole last Sunday. The driver was injured and the project contractor has settled financially with her. The city also ordered the contractor to install more lights to prevent further accidents. I could probably lend them a few witches' hats. People living in Pattaya, I get the impression reading the media that there's just this continual roadworks all around the city there. Can you tell us if that's just a media thing or whether there is just a lot of, continuous construction? Now let's head to this report from Thai PBS World and problems in both Phuket and Samui. And it described acute water shortage on Samui, but Phuket bracing for more floods. And Samui Resort Island is currently facing an acute water shortage as reservoirs are quickly drying up during a prolonged drought. On neighbouring Phuket, meanwhile, officials are bracing for a possible new round of heavy rainfall and flooding. Now, the reservoir near the main town, that would be Chaweng, I'm assuming, which has a capacity of 800,000 cubic metres, is only 10% full, which is expected to last for only 2 weeks. And the Kratod Reservoir is only 25% full, enough for about 30 days. Although Chaweng Reservoir still contains about 2 million cubic metres of water, the water is brackish, can't be used, and several communities have complained that they've been without water for almost a week. Meanwhile, on Phuket, officials are busily installing water pumps in canals and flood-prone areas in anticipation of heavy rain forecasts from today until next Monday. And you can just bet that most of those condos that popped up over the past 2 or 3 years didn't even think about stormwater drainage, and I predict that we're probably going to hear a lot more about these flood problems in Phuket over the next few months. As we head back to Hua Hin now, and Hua Hin listed among the world's 10 most affordable beach destinations to live. And the city's been recognised as one of the 10 most affordable beach destinations to live in worldwide, according to a recent list released by Travel and Leisure. And the inputs come from the international living magazines, and they describe the town, a former fishing village, now the preferred seaside getaway for both locals and visitors, thanks to its picture-perfect beaches, golf courses, seafood restaurants, lively night market and temples. And also noting that Bangkok's about a 3-hour drive away and easy to visit for a weekend. And the recognition by Travel and Leisure places Hua Hin amongst other notable beach destinations such as Georgetown in Malaysia, Valencia in Spain, and whatever that town is in Mexico. And topping the list is Georgetown in Malaysia. Yes, been there many times in the early days on visa runs. Can certainly recommend Georgetown. Great foodie location if nothing else. Crap beaches though. Let's go to another story, sort of a related topic. Exploring Thailand's popular expat hubs from Pattaya to Phuket. So a local story by Thai PBS World, just painting a picture of some of the popular expat hubs. Let's see what they have to say about them. And Thai PBS invites you to explore 5 important areas where many foreigners choose to settle down. We've got Pattaya, a retiree's destination. And you can read this, of course, at your leisure, but just picking out the sentence, moreover, many men fall in love with Thai women, and some of them then choose to live their lives in the northeast, in their wives' hometowns. And they all live happily ever after. But the article sort of gets a bit racist from now on. Surachate, which they call Little Osaka. In Surachate Nakhon Alley in downtown Surachate, also known as Little Osaka, there are many shops decorated in the Japanese style. Japanese is spoken to provide services to the Japanese visiting the area, creating a commercial shopping atmosphere similar to Osaka. Now, I've been to Surachate, I've also been to Osaka. Nothing like it. Now, the reason, of course, there are so many Japanese there is because there is a lot of Japanese companies, automotive manufacturers, Honda, Mazda, Toyota, which work around that particular area. On to the next one. And it's Hua Hin, which is the new Chinatown. The Chinese tourism boom and influx of Chinese investors have led to the opening of numerous shops and restaurants where more Chinese is spoken. Well, we've had the Japanese and the Chinese. What about Phuket? Phuket, a heaven for Russians. Maybe that should have been haven. And it says in the past Russians mostly visited Pattaya, but Phuket's becoming more popular and now considered a haven where Russians can escape the harsh winters at home. And in the wake of the Russia-Ukraine war, it's reported that more Russians are travelling to Phuket, and many of them have come here to stay. According to a report from a foreign news agency, many Russians have invested in the purchase of luxury condominiums, significantly driving up real estate prices in Phuket. More luxury houses are also being bought. Well, I used to live in Phuket for 12 years, and before my time, and certainly during my time there, we'd see different international groups come and go, and people would be complaining, oh, we've got too much of this or too much of that, and at the moment it's the Russians. Of course, this is an unusual blip because it's a bit of a geopolitical trend, not necessarily just down to tourism. So once they sort things out between Russia and Ukraine, let's hope that happens soon, will many of these Russian people go back, or have they sort of settled in for good? As we head to Phuket, the Little India, and they say there are also popular fabric markets, Indian food shops and Sikh temples, all reflecting the lifestyles of diverse Indian cultures, and these include Muslim jewellers, Hindu Indian food sellers and Sikh fabric merchants. So rather unusual little article there, and things aren't quite as sort of black and white as they make out. And at the end of the day, all these locations are in Thailand and will reflect, before anything else, well, Thai food, Thai culture, and mostly Thai people. But with that, hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand. I'd invite you to subscribe to the channel. Please support our 2 sponsors. There's more information in the links below. Have a great Thursday, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.